Hello, YouTubers. This is Joe Bravo with Mo Bravo's Knife Reviews. Today I have two fine studded specimens from Jonas and Glacious that I'd like to bring to the channel. I've been very excited about these because everybody that's been following the channel knows that I was not traditionally a fan of thumb stud knives, specifically thumb stud knives that were frame lock. I very much so had a difficult time keeping my hands off of the frame lock and not being able to deploy the knife, and my thumbs would hurt. You know, my 229, Ultramar, some of the CRK knives, and through my journey, I have been able to rid myself from leaning on the frame lock, and I've really been getting into enjoying thumb stud knives. I do have a lot of friends to thank for teaching me how to deploy these knives properly, and it allowed me to open up my collection to different knives that are studded and different makers that do predominantly studded knives. So this gentleman, Jonas and Glacious, is out of Florida. I believe it's somewhere in Miami. This knife was made in 2018, and I know he's making current knives, so he's at least been active for around 4 years, if not more. And he's really, really, really developing one hell of a following. In fact, just last week, an auction knife that he did went for $9,000, and it's incredible. You're talking about a pocket knife. Some of the CMF knives I've seen have gone for $4,000 or $5,000 on the auction, but 9,000. This really puts it into a different perspective. So he's been very much up and coming. I didn't know about him. I didn't know how well his knives were made. I didn't know how big his following was. But now that I do, I'm very glad to have been able to get two of his knives that have been very difficult to find because the people that get them don't want to get rid of them, and for a good reason. These are really, really nice. This is a black micarta frame lock ion, and something about the ion I didn't know until after I purchased it is you can only buy an ion at a show. So that's kind of makes this thing a little rare. How rare, I'm not sure. I don't know how many shows he does, but there is a Zerk pocket clip, a customized pivot on both sides. I believe these are just titanium studs. And then what you can really see that's cool on this one is he's got a milled backspacer in there, and it really does a fine job, you know, completing this process, integrating the pivots into the backspacer, and just how this thing deploys is so fun. I mean, it flies out. It's just, and I've really been enjoying that. Whether or not it's thumb, whether or not it's Spidey flick, it's just a ball. And it doesn't drop shut, which is something I kind of was disappointed about until I got used to it. But the one quick shake, it is so smooth. It's not even a bother. I don't even question it anymore. In fact, having it be a frame lock, this scale configuration with this swell in the top of the blade really makes it comfortable. And there is a little bit of a recurve inside that blade shape, but if I had to tighten this up on my Spyderco Sharp Maker, it would be really easy to bring that back to life quickly. Uh, both of these knives are AEBL steel, um, and both of these knives are hand ground and have hand satin finishes in the blade, as you can see. Really makes for some really nice grind lines. So this one is a full-size Bowie. He does make a full-size Bowie, and he makes a mini Bowie. He makes Bowies in frame lock, and he makes Bowies in liner. Same thing goes with the Ion. He makes a liner Ion. He makes a full titanium Ion, and just cool to see the different pieces that are available. And it's also funny. I've been talking to my friend Brad, who's at Knives on the secondary. If you haven't followed him on Instagram, you probably should, and I will link his Instagram inside the comment section or description. He has an ion, and he has a similar to me, and his doesn't drop shut. So when I told him that the Bowie drops shut, he said that that's not something that, he was really interested about. And then we both laughed about how one maker can make two different knives, and one can drop shut, and the other one might not drop shut. And just how a little bit of tuning from the maker is able to change somebody's interpretation on the knife based on the action. Now, this isn't totally drop shut. This isn't an Arius. This isn't a Spectre. It is a nice smooth, but when I close it from the backside, which everybody's seen me do 1,000 times, it just drops shut really, really nicely, and makes it really, really fun to play with and manipulate, which is, half the battle. Everybody knows that I like a really nice action, a very nice, well-made detent, and sometimes on liner locks, that's hard to find, but thankfully with this knife, Jonas was able to put together a really nice detent, a really nice package, and just for everybody out there, I wanted to get the ruler out. The Ion's around 7 3/4, where the Bowie is around 8 inches. The blade length on the Ion's about 3 1/4, with a little bit more in the blade, whereas the Bowie's probably a little longer. And yeah, you got about 3 1/2 on the edge, and then a little bit longer for the blade steel. The Bowie has an oil slick style Zerk backspacer, and then Jonas did a great job orange peeling the liners here that you can see there, and then the Zerk clip also matches the oil slick backspacer that you see there. And then again, Jonas did a killer job with this custom pivot that really sets it apart from other people that are just using TI connector style pivots. And it's really some of the things that have separated him out from other makers, and that level of craftsmanship. This has a little bit of an orange peel in it, but nowhere near the texture on the liners, and it's just really a well-made package. I wanted to get the scale out too. Sometimes liners are considered to be light. uh, the Bowie comes in at 3.8 ounces, and the Ion comes in at 3.2 ounces. So both of these are terrific carry pieces. If you go back, from what I remember, I think the carbon fiber Spectre I had was around 3.2 ounces. I know the Roosevelts are around 3.2 ounces. So if you wanted a light carry, I'm telling you, there's no liner. It's just a micarta show scale. It's a very thin titanium on the lock side, if you could see that. Whereas, on the liner, it is a little bit heavier, being that he does have two different sets of liners in the knife, and then the micarta. And just love how thin the micarta pieces he uses for the scales are. Really makes it nice in the hand. Both of these are really comfortable. Nice full size knife. So, I don't want to get long winded, but I just wanted to share, these two knives with you and just kind of compare them action wise. I do have my Omega from CMF. Ian was really great and gave me the titanium studs to put on here and really woke this knife up on the action side for me. I like the flat traditional titanium studs, whereas the coffin ones that were on here, I feel like aren't my favorite. And then my go-to right now is definitely the Asuka from Maverick Concepts, and again with that same flat style titanium stud, just rockets out there. The detent is perfect on this guy. The detent ramp is perfect on this guy, and really just made four phenomenal studded knives that are similar yet different, that are really comfortable in the hand, have wonderful actions, are made by tremendous knife makers, and I'm really, really happy to have the opportunity to share them with you guys. So maybe in the next couple of days, I'll be able to do a nice collection on all the studded knives that I have and compare the actions, compare the weights, compare the lengths, and maybe pick a favorite when everything's all said and done. So thank you for tuning in. I really appreciate it. This is the first video of 2022, hopefully not the last. I love bringing some of these custom knives to you so that you get a little perspective before spending a tremendous night, spending a tremendous amount on a knife that's only available on the secondary. You know, I know Jonas, his books are way back. I know Ian's doing a tremendous job of getting through his book orders. I think he's going to open up sometime in 2022. And I know Nick is also doing the same. And I think his books are going to open for 2022. But if you can't find these knives on the, directly from the maker through a custom book order, or you don't have the opportunity to go to a show, then finding knives like these on the secondary market is your only offering. Like I said, go check out Brad's page at Knives on the Secondary, the Facebook pages, the Facebook groups, and also Blade Forum is another option for trying to discover, one of these rare guys on the secondary market. So thank you again. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe, and have a wonderful weekend. Take care.